Good morning again.
Morning. Morning.
Breakfast. Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
I just made a confess. I had no arrangement to say that about the topic which I'm going to talk about because I'm just continuing what the door she just opened for us. I'm going to talk about fostering sustainable behavior. I'm a return speaker. Is there any return guest in the past 5 years here? Yeah? But last year, you were here last year, not 2 years ago. Yeah, okay. So the first time we're hearing this one. Well, it's one of my favorite topics I love to talk about. And thank you again, Shore and Lumesmart, to give us this opportunity. We're talking about people. We're talking about human being. And I'm going to tell you why. She said about she started talking about sustainability. So what is sustainability? Sustainable development, as you clearly mentioned, is that we meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Swear to God, I had no arrangement with that. And what's sustainability? Sustainability is not a destination, it's a dynamic process. We all are in the process of sustainability. We should be. And it's a process of adaptation, learning, action, and a vision. We need to have a vision for sustainability. And I wanted just to make more emphasis on adaptation. And I would like to take a quote from great Charles Darwin. As he said, "It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is one that is the most adaptable to change." And if you want to survive on this planet again and again, we need to have that power of adaptability. We are among 0.01% of the species that survived in the past million years. 98.9% no more exist. So first we should thank our ancestors that we are still on the planet. Keep going. And we need that adaptability. And again, the famous 3 spheres that she talked about sustainability. It's environmental, social, and economical. And if we do the thing that is on all 3 spheres, it's environmental, and economical, and social, it will stay. We cannot just promote pro-environmental behaviors that are not doable, are not economical. I cannot ask you everybody, go and buy a Tesla to save the planet. It's economical, it's sustainable. I cannot ask everybody to just walk on the foot, don't use any kind of car. I cannot ask everybody to become vegetarian or vegan. It's not doable at this moment. So we need to find things that are economical, social, and environmental sustainable to make be in the sustainable process of change. And what is the climate change? Well, talking about climate change, what are the aspects of climate change? There are some part of it. It's global warming, acid rains, deforestation, desertification, and waste. And what is common among all of these changes is human being. We are the one that are doing things to our planet. And she said, that's the only planet we have. I'm not sure about you if you are privileged enough to take a Voyager going to the moon or Mars, but most of us will stay in this planet for a while. So these are the behaviors that cause those climate changes, like inefficient use of energy, over-reliance on the fossil fuels, inefficient use of water, burning of tropical forests, and all the rest. You showed us about the map of the world. That Canada was a very green part of it. And that doesn't mean we are doing sustainable behaviors and pro-environmental behaviors enough in our country. Do you know what is the average shower time in the world, except Canada, especially those people that are not privileged enough to have no water? 3 to 4 minutes. Average shower time in Canada, more than 12 minutes. Why? Because we have lots of water. It's not free, but it's cheap. And we have a lot. Clean water. That doesn't mean, seriously, 5 minutes?
It's been 5
5 minutes to the end, not 5 minutes. Right? So that doesn't mean we are in a good sector of saving the environment. We're doing a lot of harm to the environment as well. And again, these are all our human behaviors. And it's very difficult, as mentioned, to first do the behavior modification and the new habit formation. We all experience, for example, said from tomorrow, let's do it from Monday, we usually start diets from Monday. From Monday, I'm going to start new diet. I will do cycling. I'll do that, I'll do this. But that Monday never comes. Why? Because we're trying to have a new behavior, new habit formation, which may not work easily. And especially about the environment, it's interesting and dangerous that we can observe a profound psychological disconnection between what people know about climate change and what people actually do about climate change. We all know something is happening, but we still continue our old habits in transportation, in water consumption, in energy consumption. Why? Please answer. Yes.
Because it's easier.
Easier to
do whatever we used to
go back to our old habits,
behaviors,
to our behaviors, to our comfort zones, to what we know from the past. Any other answer?
Because you don't feel now the difference of whatever is coming in the future. You do not know. The areas that they know that it's going to affect them quickly, they should take faster action. For us here in Canada, you do not feel, then you do not take actions because you think that you are still in break.
Exactly. That's another reason, because we think everything is fine when the impact of this specific action may show, I don't know. If I recycle a few things, or if I walk to my workplace, I don't know how it may affect. It doesn't matter at this moment. Yeah. What else?
It's a simple numbers game. There's more people that don't know about the impacts of climate change and things like that versus those that actually care and do know about it.
That is also one factor. I talked about it, but yeah. But this, especially talking about the people who know about it, but they don't do.
Yeah, there's not enough enforcement to stop this, all of these negative impacts on the
No enforcement, no incentive, no
Not enough,
external gratification for that.
It's just encouragement, but it's not a practical, again, enforcement.
Yeah, I just brought up these questions to think about it and just want you to have some ideas how we can make these small changes. We know what is right, but we don't do it. And that won't happen overnight. Those things that you think about it in a second and you have some aha moments about it, those are the transformation moments. Hey, yeah, that's possible. And if you try to focus on it and practice it on and on and on, hopefully we can make a change after a while. After all those focusing, thinking, transformation aha moments, transformative aha moments. So there are lots of mental barriers for us that we are going to talk about it. The first one is psychophysiological barrier, which means perceiving the sign, it's a signal. Signals of this climate change, low, the sign of this climate change, low signal to noise. It means that we are receiving lots of information about climate change, but some of them are not correct, some of them are not real, some of them are frauds. So we call it the signal to noise ratio is very low about climate change. They are not correct information we are receiving and sending to people. So then we are not sure about the accuracy of the information, we don't do it. The second is temporal barrier. as you mentioned clearly. There's a lag between the human action and the influence of the environmental change. And people usually have the capacity and interest in don't have the capacity and interest for the long-term thinking. The impact of the action I'm doing today may affect my home, my country, my neighbors, my families 10 years later. But we are adapted to the immediate gratification, specifically in these new eras of the speed, of the quick reactions. We are in touch with everything in less than a second, and we cannot wait for our gratification for next 20 years, next 50 years, or next 100 years. The third one is judgmental barrier, and it's a tendency to underestimate the increasing of the frequency of natural disasters. We are trying to say, well, that flood just happened once in 100 years, so it won't happen again. That high temperature was here in 1985, it won't happen again. And this is one of our mental defense mechanisms to protect ourselves and say, hey, you're safe and sound. So don't think about dangerous things and bad things that may happen to you. So we don't do those things. And the last one you also mentioned is about geographical and social barriers. What we do here in the city may affect somewhere else at the suburb. What we do in Canada may affect some people in China, or vice versa. So we don't see actually what bad is that harm for us and for the others. And the last one is like a dilemma that all the pro-environmental, all the sustainable behaviors are expensive. We cannot afford it. We cannot afford to walk. We cannot afford to use our bicycle. We cannot afford to do recycling. And the pro-environmental behaviors are often most costly in terms of personal comfort and convenience that anti-environmental behaviors are. I agree with this. But we always think it's very expensive for us, it's costly to do the things that are pro-environment. And what we do instead, we try to mask it with some things that looks pro-environmental, like eating something that's very nice, green packaging. Wearing the shirts that have some slogan on it about the whales in South America, which doesn't make sense. But we don't do these actual effective behaviors. So these are just some mental barriers that we all have, and we are just getting stuck behind it not to do that pro-environmental behaviors. So what's the solution? How we can get rid of these ideas?
I have a question.
Training. Training what?
You know, the government, I think the most power the government has to do training, and the more cultural in this kind of using material or all other things.
Okay, so it is the governmental body that needs to educate people about the environment.
Education and control.
Public awareness.
Public awareness.
Yeah.
So, okay, another
We're changing the regulations.
changing regulation. We are talking,
You're talking
going back,
about
we're
the
talking
green
about the
packaging.
human mental barriers. We're talking about our personal behaviors. We're talking about our mental barriers, and we just want to break the rules. What are the solutions for that?
Who has the main role in climate change? Government, infrastructure, industries. Why the people? Everyone concentrate on the people. You know, the portion of the government, the portion of the economy is more important than the people.
Yeah, I 200% agree with you. What I'm talking about me, that not doing my recycle. Just over-relying more on my car. Not doing something that help the environment. I'm not talking about those 200% regulations. I'm just a human being.
Highlight that it may be a benefit for this kind of action.
Okay.
what exactly is impacting?
Quantifying to the people that, see, if you just save this plastic bag, you're going to save 2 kilogram carbon, ton of carbons per year, something
It's
like
part of the education, but
that. Okay? What else?
Simplification.
Well, again, talking about the others, I'm talking about me. How can I overcome these barriers, my mental barriers?
Simplification.
Sorry.
You should prepare everything for the industry, try to prepare everything cheaper, not more expensive. As, for example, for lead in construction, we focus on lead, but prepare everything as more expensive as can.
Okay, so you believe that if there is some economical, financial incentive from outside, that may help?
Yeah.
Let me give you some examples. There was a workshop in the States for educating people about conserving kind of valves for the showers that may conserve about 20 to 25% of water consumption. It was a 1 day or 2 days workshop, I'm not sure, and at the end, they gave people free samples, 3 free samples. Free. After 2 months, they asked them, how many of you did you use that valve? Only 20%. So 80% of those population didn't use the free samples.
Inertia. People have resistance against any change in their lives.
Of course. Yeah, we know, going back to my code, that there is a big disconnection between what we know about the environment and what we do. We don't know, but we are resistant because we have some resistance to change. And that's not true. People like change, but people don't like to be changed. It's also in the workplace. They love to change the workplace, to move around, to have different new culture in the workplace, but they don't like you as a boss go there and say, hey, from today you need to do this, you cannot stay there, change your color.
But sometimes command and control causes the change in conduct of people. I have seen some researches about water quality that command and control of governments has caused changing of the conduct of people in real time.
Yeah.
So I think the combination of different methods are required for this purpose. Even command and control, penalty, besides incentives and other things.
Yeah, you're talking both about the carrot and the stick, which is correct. But in order to have a sustainable change, we need to get the involvement of all the people to that policies as well. That's why recently all the pro-environmental behavior changes should start from communities and from educating kids at the beginning. You see there's lots of kids going back home asking their parents and families, why we don't do this in our house? It's good for the environment. And those signals will make some changes at home. It's not from the flyer that you receive from your city. It's from your child. That's one part of the education. And another part is involvement. We need to have the solutions from everybody, not just from top to bottom. Yes?
You also have to make sure that your changes are going to have the effect that you're intending. Like when it comes to recycling, today, our blue box waste goes into landfill. It doesn't get recycled. So encouraging people to recycle when you're actually shooting yourself in the foot just doesn't make sense.
Exactly. How we can force the city not to put that blue bin in landfill.
No, because it's not economical. What we need to do is have a better system, a system that works. Sweden, for example, instead of trying to recycle all their waste, they recycle what can be economically recycled. They divert what cannot be cleanly incinerated. And they use clean incineration on the rest to produce cheap energy. That's a sustainable model.
Okay. Again, that's from the governmental part.
Exactly.
And that's how we can influence the government, starting from us. There are lots of inefficient and economical decisions made by government that they use it. And that could be one of them. If we, as human beings, we believe enough in ourselves, in our power, to change our own decisions, and then we can influence the other people. And that change starts within us. Starts from our change of beliefs, to change our beliefs, to have a new perspective about what we believe in, and then take small, teeny tiny baby step actions.
This young lady had a question.
Compared to the other 37 million people in Canada, the 40 people in this room don't have as much of an impact as the other industries will.
Okay.
So us making, let's say, going and protesting in a street or something, 40 people would not do anything compared to if other industries refuse to do certain things that would produce that waste.
Okay, I didn't ask you to do that. We don't want any protests. We don't want to go to Buckinghamshire. That's for sure. That was a very good question about how we can make a change if we are a small group. But you're right. I'm just trying to answer from my perspective. Even small group of committed people, can make big changes in the world. And I have a few examples for you after. In the break, I can show you. So it's not about we just get out and get emotional and try to change everything. Especially we have some people from government as a guest. But it's about personal perspective. I just wanted to share with you our mental barriers about these changes, which are correct, which they are not bad. We have all these mental barriers because they kept us safe and sound for years, for a million years, because we are alive and surviving this planet. But some of them may not work anymore. And in order to survive, we need to have the power of adaptability and adapt ourselves to new changes which is happening and change ourselves. Thank you for listening to me, and these are some resources.